What's going on, guys? How y'all feel, man? It's your relationship coach, Clarence Brown. You already know who it is, man. We tuned in right now to a Sunday Night Live, man. Of course, I'm always having things on my mind and people bringing different topics, different subject matter to me in terms of coaching sessions and just wanting to pick my brain about things. And so I really wanted to come in tonight and just real quick, not going to hold you too long, not going to be in your way too long, but really wanted to hone in on something in particular and specific that I get questioned about often. And so when it comes to relationships, of course, it's stages. You got the dating stage, you got courting, you have just kind of talking, you got, marriage, you have engagement. All of these different stages require different things, right? And with these different stages as well comes with questions and answers that need to be had. So I want to talk about tonight real quick why men don't put a ring on it, okay? And so this is a question, like I said, I've been asked many times from women, and so I really want to just touch on that real quick. So for those of you that don't know who I am, as I said before, my name is Clarence Brown. I'm a relationship coach. I'm an author, a speaker, and I host the Male Translations podcast on Tuesday nights, both on Facebook and YouTube. All right, so what I like to do and what I try to do is bridge the gap of communication between men and women and ultimately improve your dating experience, right? So as we get some people tuned in tonight, man, what I need y'all to do right now is hit that like button, hit that share button, and spread the message, because I'm sure you have somebody close to you, if it not be yourself, that can use this information as to why men don't put a ring on it, right? Because, of course, one of the major things that women always want to know is how we move from one stage to the next. Is it all the same? Is it certain things that a man is thinking about or is requiring or is looking for when it comes to moving from the stage of just dating and ultimately making you his life partner, right? So as a man myself, I know that there are certain things that we think about, that we value, that we are looking for when it comes to a wife. And so as you might have seen in some of my videos lately, I've been really kind of touching on men and women as wives and wife potential and some of the things that make a woman a wife in a man's eyes. So real quick, I wanted to get into why men don't put a ring on it, right? So like I said, I'm not going to hold you too long. What's going on, Kaylisha? I see you out there in Facebook world. I see your girl showing love, always tapped in. Hit that share button. Please, please share this message, because I want this to touch as many people as possible. I need to represent the fellas tonight and just breaking down for the men what may be prolonging his decision to get married. And also for the women, I need for you to be able to share this with somebody that's close to you, because as we hear the stats going around, 1 out of 4 women will get married, right? And so when that stat is reality right now, you have to ask yourself, even if you're in a relationship, what do I need to do to make it beyond this point and actually have that family, have that marriage and build from that point, right? And so with all of that being said, the question becomes, how can a woman that feels like she has the qualities of a wife now transition from being just a girlfriend of a man that she loves, or just in a relationship, to actually now being married and moving forward as a family and as a family unit. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about is what makes a man want to marry you. And you might have seen this in my page and some of the things that I've been posting as of late. I posted a video about the 5 things a man is looking for before he marries you, right? So if you haven't seen that video, here are the 5 things. Okay. So number 1, appreciate you, Kaylisha. You showed out. Thank you for sharing the post. The number 1 is peace and understanding. Okay. Now, of course, ladies, when you hear these things, some of them you might say, hey, it's unilateral. It's the same for women as it is men. And it may be true for some of these, but I don't think women pay enough attention to these things when it comes to how it concerns a man, because, hey, even while you're thinking to yourself, you know what, I want these same things, sometimes that want for yourself, overshadows his desire to have those things as well. So if I don't offend you, and this is something that you can accept, I just want you to hear me out. And here, again, we're starting with the 5. Number 1, peace and understanding, okay? Peace is just bringing calm to his life, just bringing now a neutralized energy to where it's where he may be in a space where he's uncomfortable. He may be feeling pressure of the world. When he comes home, he can rely on you to bring peace and calm to his lifestyle, to his livelihood, everything that he has going on, right? And understanding is just understanding his mission, understanding what his ambitions are, understanding what he's pursuing, all of those things, right? And so that means a great deal when it comes to men, because for us, we need to feel as though you understand us. We need to feel like, oh, and this is how some of the side chicks get in the door, because why? Women, men will say, and I hear this from other men, man, dog, Clarence, I just seem like we just clicking, bro. The vibe just right, and I just feel like she just understand me. Right? So that whole mindset from a man feeling like a woman understands him is a huge attraction to him when it comes to dating and relationships and ultimately his life partner, because, of course, understanding is a huge deal for men, and it's one of the main things we're looking for when it comes to a woman we choose to make our life partner, right? So number 2, respect. Okay? Respect. Now, I don't know what would make you respect a man, but for any man, he needs to feel like he's respected by you, okay? What that means is that you respect who he is. You respect the fact that he is a leader and the head of the household. You respect the fact that he has some level of authority, meaning that he will, he's a leader, right? Now, even though ladies, you do have authority yourself. It's not like it's a slave type of environment when you're in a relationship or marriage, but yet just respecting the fact of his position in the relationship is a huge thing for men, because now he can come home and feel like he can be able to create some level of order without there being a mutiny or without there being a fight or a battle when it comes to certain things that need to be structured in the household. All right. Number 3 is sexual compatibility. So when a man is choosing to make a woman his life partner, that's a huge key, because, of course, when it comes to intimacy, when it comes to, sexual energy, that needs to be on par with each other for him to feel like, this isn't a silly move, or this is not something that I'm doing haphazardly or actually, too quickly before I really know what I'm getting myself into, right? And number 4 is emotional stability. Now, this is key, and this is huge, because a lot of women don't have it. A lot of women don't have emotional stability. I'm sorry if I offended you, but if it offended you, it's probably because you might have been told this before by somebody else, or somebody else has kind of made mention of this to you, or you might know internally, like, that's one of the battles that I'm facing. That's one of the demons I'm battling right now. But for a man, if you aren't emotionally stable, then he's not going to know if he can trust you. How can he trust you with his secrets? How can he trust you with things he's dealing with? How can he trust you with telling you something that maybe he has a little discontentment about, without you fighting, battling, scratching, clawing him just because he made mention of it, right? And all that comes from the fact that a mature woman has emotional stability. And so maturity isn't about age. It's just about how you carry yourself and how you perceive life and things that happen in your space and in your world. Well, you have to be stable in your emotions for him to know that when it comes to things that he may say or things that he may see, that you won't react in a certain type of way to where he feels like, I should have never even said anything. Because, ladies, a lot of times y'all say y'all want a man to communicate free of punishment or feeling like he's going to have a fight, but that oftentimes isn't the case. So you got to have that emotional stability. And finally, you got to honor the man he is today and the man he is tomorrow. And that falls in line with respect, but I think that in particular is one major thing that is a key for men, because we're looking at it like, how is it that, I keep seeming as if I'm inadequate or I'm never good enough for you, because either I'm not the man you want me to be today, or you feel like I will never become this great guy that you envision in your mind. And ultimately that makes him feel like, I want to be with somebody who's going to honor what I'm doing and the things that I'm doing as far as making strides toward my goals and my destiny. And so these things make up what a man needs, in my opinion. It may differ from man to man in certain 1 or 2 tweak areas, but overall I think this is a solid foundation when it comes to what men are looking for in women that they decide to make their life partner, right? And so if you have these things, great. But also if you may be feeling like in a certain area this is some area of improvement or growth, well then don't be upset. Accept the fact that, hey, we all have areas of growth, and that just may be one of the areas that you want to improve upon, because that's something that he's looking at. Even if he's not saying something, he's looking at it, he's paying attention. And so ladies sometimes come to me and say, well, I feel like I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do. I'm doing everything for him that I know to do. I'm doing all of this stuff, and it just seems to be, leaving me empty-handed. And so my question is in your mind you're doing everything that you need to do, or is that the same in his mind? Does he feel like you are doing everything that you should be doing? Are you doing everything? It's almost like when you're doing stuff that's bad habits. Even though you may be putting in work, that doesn't mean that the work you're putting in is effective. So what you need to verify is he feeling like you're doing everything that you should be doing? Okay? And that's, like I say, two-way street. But when we think about the fact that a woman 90% of the time isn't going to propose to herself, well then, yeah, you need to be concerned with what he feels like you're doing for him and what benefit you're bringing to his life. Because just like I said, the 5 things, peace and understanding and sexual compatibility, all of these things, these are benefits that he feels you bring to his life. So if you one of the women that feel like, hey, we've been dating 2, 3, 5 years and even more, well, then that comes from the fact that one of these 5 areas, in my opinion, is one of the reasons why he may be prolonging it. So you got to find out what that is and fast, serious. So you have to ask yourself this. This is one question that I think a lot of ladies might not ask themselves when it comes to being in a relationship and transitioning toward marriage, right? Is it me or is it him? Is it me or is it him? Now, when I say that, I know women like, I ask that all the time. But when I say you're not asking it, I'm saying that basically you're not prioritizing the fact that I'm ready to make a change and figure out what I need to do. It's more so like, hey, I'm asking it, but in a way that's saying it's dismissive, because in my mind I know I'm doing everything I need to do. So the real question is, why isn't he seeing the value in everything that I'm doing, and why isn't he, taking that up and saying, hey, let me capture that and not leave it for someone else, all right? But you got to ask yourself, like I said earlier, is what you're doing the things that he wants, or is it the things that you just feel like in your own mind he should want and he should need? Even if in your mind you feel like that may not be how he feels. But let's move on, right? So here's the thing. If it's him, it could be one of these things, right? Okay. The topic is why your man hasn't put a ring on it, all right? If it is him, it's because it's either money. He's saying to himself, hey, I'm not financially in a position right now where I feel like it makes sense. It may be too much of a burden on me. It could be timing. He could feel like, hey, I want to get my life in a better position. I want for us to be in a better state financially and just structurally. And so before I make that change and make that move, I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'm embarrassed or I put the cart before the horse. No, let me go ahead and make sure everything is aligned properly so that we can actually transition in a way that we can continue to move forward and build, right? It could be your own standards. All right. Now, sometimes, ladies, y'all don't want to hear this, but to be honest, a man recognizes what he has. So if he has a woman that in his mind he feels like, hey, listen, if I'm gonna get married to her, I gotta come like this. I know she's not really gonna respect anything below this level, right? Some of y'all ladies will say, hey, we can go to the courthouse. Yeah, you probably can. And you probably can be upset when y'all on the way home because you feel like, I still feel like we need to do the ceremony. I still want my mom. I still want my family. I still want to walk, have my dad walk me down the aisle, right? Well, essentially, what he's saying is, I don't want to have to do it twice. I'd rather wait until the point where I can do it the way that you want it done, the way that you would feel like you're being honored the best way, as opposed to me just going down, signing this paperwork and saying, you know what, we done. And it's like, well, everything is still the same, right? So in his mind, he say, you know what, let me go ahead and make sure that when I am able to get married, that it's going to meet your standard and you're not going to feel disappointed. You're not going to feel slighted. You're not going to feel, that your wedding was less than all that you imagined, right? And ladies, like I said, and even though sometimes you may not think about these things, he recognizes who he's dealing with. Right? Like in the Bible, it says a man deals with a woman according to knowledge. So according to how he knows you and the things he knows about you, that's how he's going to deal with the situation. Regardless of how you like it or not, talk about these things, but these are some of the things that men will say as far as if it's them, why they decide to prolong marriage. Money, timing, your standards, a fear of marriage, right? Some men fear the fact that, hey, you know what, this could be something that I end up making a wrong decision, and I don't know if it's right for me to do so. I love this lady, I love her, and I really want to move forward with her, but this is why some men say, well, I fear that lifelong commitment because of the stats, and people say, oh, well, you know, so many marriages get divorces within a few years, you name it, right? So there are men that fear that commitment, fear marriage. And like I said, just giving you an honorable wedding is a big deal to men. All right, now, now on the flip side is that if it is you, it could be one of these things as well. Now, we just talked about if he's not putting a ring on your finger, and he's saying it's because of me, right? You may not understand it when he says that, but what he means is that, hey, I want to get my money straight. I want to make sure that we financially are stable and secure, right? I know we've been together, we loving each other, we having, you know, a great relationship, and it seems like the next step is marriage. It's the only other way that we can go, right? But at the same time, let me make sure that we good, right? We got some things, got some bills, some debt that we want to pay down, all of this and that and the third, where you saying, hey, I don't care about none of that. Yeah, you saying you don't care about any of that now, but then once you are married, then you're going to say, hey, man, let's double back now and get all of those things. And it's like, well, you know what? I want to make sure that I don't have to worry about how you feel about the things that aren't actually laid flat and put in place. So that's what he's going to do, right? So let's see. All right, now, so that's what he's thinking when it comes to him. Now, when it comes to you, he could be fearing these things. He could be fearing that you're going to change on him. Man could be feeling like you're going to change on him. And what's crazy is that women will say, hey, well, we all change. We're all supposed to we're all supposed to evolve. We're all supposed to change and things of that nature, right? Now, that all is true. But at the same time, think about it. If you're changing, meaning that you're going to change the direction and course of your life somewhere midway through the marriage, does that change mean that now you redirect from you guys' path together, right? Not only that, but see, when those things happen, now your mentality changes, your outlook on him changes. You're expecting for him to bend with your change, but unfortunately, ladies, what you don't understand is that you should bend with his change, right? If he's the leader of the house, I gave this analogy. I said, listen, if you see people riding on a motorcycle, riding down the street, and they take a curve, right? If the driver is turning left, bending the curve left, and the passenger is leaning right, well, then they're going to crash. Why? Because the weight on the bike is going in two separate directions, and you can't move like that in order to stay on that bike. So y'all going to end up crashing, falling off. Why? Because the person behind the leader is not following what he's doing, right? Now, when you see two people turn the curve, they need to turn in the same direction. So the same can be said about marriage, and that sometimes may be the bad news for some people that feel like, hey, well, you know what? I love this person, but hey, I still haven't chosen my path. Or I love this person, but hey, I still want to do my own thing and have some sort of independence, right? And that you should have some level of independence, but recognize that it's a team effort. So that means that for the betterment of the team, sometimes you have to sacrifice some of the things that you want in order for us to win. So like I said, if that change means that you're moving in the opposite direction of the path that you two decided to set and take together, then that's a problem for the man. That's a serious problem. Because at the end of the day, he's going to feel like, can I trust that you're going to still walk this straight and narrow with me if the road gets rocky? If we end up going through a little bit of wilderness territory right now, if we go through a little bit of a rough patch or you know, some dry spells, are you still going to stay with me, or is it going to be a situation where you end up taking off from me? I'll close my eyes and now I'll wake up and you're gone, right? So all these things, that's one thing. If he feels like it's you, right? Now, the next thing is he could feel like you just fully don't understand him, right? Like I said before, you got to have that peace and understanding. And so sometimes a man can love you but not feel like you truly understand him, right? I give you a perfect example. In my own marriage, okay, there was points before me and my wife got married where I feel like, man, it just seemed like we argue every day. We just have a disagreement about something every day. If it wasn't every day, it was every other day. But it just felt to me like the more and more we spend time together, the more and more I feel like you don't understand me. Been together for years, but yet I'm looking at you like, Why are we having these petty arguments? Why it seems like every time we have a disagreement, it's like we can't go 24 hours without having a disagreement, right? And all of those things are reasons why a man may feel like, man, I don't know, man, you know. And you looking at him like, come on, like, you know, a real man would do this. Like, we've been together, like, it's ups and downs, but yet we just gotta, and he's hearing all of that, like, it sound good, but at the same time, man, listen, let me think about it a little bit longer, because you ain't finna rush me into this, right? And so the last thing is that maybe one of the five areas that a man is looking for isn't being fulfilled, okay? So when we go back, we double back to peace, understanding, respect, and I put peace and understanding as one, all right? Peace and understanding, respect, sexual compatibility, emotional stability, and honoring who he is today. Either he could feel like he's not getting respect from you because maybe he's not that man that you felt like you can just look at and say, okay, cool, he's already there, right? Maybe it could be emotional stability. Maybe he feels, like I said, again, y'all always having conflict. Maybe he's saying, hey, man, you know, sexually there's some areas where I just feel unfulfilled in, right? So what do you do when you feel like, hey, he hasn't put a ring on it, and we've been together these few years, and we've been together, you know, however long, and I'm looking for commitment. I was looking for commitment from day one. He said he was looking for a commitment, but all of a sudden now we get to a place in our relationship where we hit a fork in the road. Why? Because you saying, hey, we've been together this long, what are we going to do? What are we doing? What direction are we moving in, right? So the question now becomes, what do you do? What do you do? Right? So most women will say, hey, well, I'm going to give them an ultimatum. I'm going to tell them, shoot, I can't waste all my time, can't waste my life. I'm going to give them an ultimatum. I would strongly recommend you not do that. I would strongly recommend that you not give him an ultimatum and think that that's what's going to, you know, quicken his heart to marry you. Because what you don't want is a pity ring, and what you don't want is a pacifier ring, okay? And this is what happens a lot of times where women that get the ultimatum and the man pops out of nowhere with a ring. Ask yourself, was it really because he wanted to do that, or is it because he was forced to do that? Now, even if he feels like I was going to marry you regardless, the fact that the pressure that you put on him to marry him makes him look at you a little bit differently, because it's like, well, what do you value, the ring or the relationship? He's looking at it and saying to himself, well, man, you know what? Like, I feel like we're going to get there, but yet we're just not there yet. And you're saying, well, forget all that, damn all that, we there. We need to go ahead and make this happen because I'm sick and tired. And it's like, okay, cool. Well, he may give you that ring and now shut you up, but yet now another 2 years pass by, all because what? He wasn't ready to begin with. And listen, ladies, I'm going to say this. It's a difference. There's a difference between a man saying, hey, I don't want to lose you, and I want to marry you, okay? So when a man is telling you that he wants to marry you, then believe what he's telling you. But if a man is telling you, well, baby, I just don't want to lose you, then that's another clear sign that, hey, he may be wasting your time just so he can, you know, buy some time. He needs to be able to clearly say that I do want to marry you. It's just X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C, 1, 2, and 3, right? Because without it, then he's just saying, well, baby, what can I do not to lose you? And thus you end up getting a pity ring or a pacifier ring. And that's not what you want. So what you need to do, ladies, is have a conversation with him, right? Have a conversation with him. Talk about what you and his future looks like together, right? And again, I know, ladies, y'all feel like, well, we talk about it. You know, we talk about marriage, and you know, sometimes it comes up, and we talk about what we want to do and seeing ourselves together and things like that. Well, that's you know, in an ambitious way. That's in a dream-like way, right? When we talk about practical, when we talk about reality, we need to clearly define, okay, well, what does our clear future together look like, right? And I'm going to say this off bat. I know some guys, they don't take well to a question like that, because it's like, you know, it comes out of left field. Like, if I'm watching the playoffs, I don't want to hear, babe, what does our future look like? Like, no, I'm not saying, I'm not saying ask it like that, right? But what I am saying is that when the time is right, when he is at peace, it would be good for you to go over and ask him, hey, listen, you know, are we still moving in the same direction? What do you mean by that? Well, you know that it's been X amount of time since we last talked about marriage, or we last talked about what we're going to do as far as us being together and moving on to that next stage, right? And so in that moment, that's going to prompt him to say, okay, well, you know, well, here's an answer to those questions. And I would say that you should probe a little bit more, but listen to what he's saying, because if it lines up with either some of the things that I mentioned, where again, before I said either, if it's him, if he feels like, hey, we're still going to move toward that direction, but it's just me, it could be either money, it could be a fair marriage, it could be time, and it could be what he perceives your standard to be and wanting to meet that and give you an honorable marriage. If it's something that he feels like is in you, you might not hear it so easily, but you need to read between the lines, because what he may be telling you is that he's fearing your attitude. He's fearing your changes. He's fearing the fact that sometimes he can't get a word in, or what he says isn't, valid enough for you to feel like it should be something that you respect, right? All of these things, he might not say it in the way I just said it, but it's going to mean what I just said, meaning that he's going to say something in a way that may not be offensive to you, but ultimately what he's trying to say is, man, I don't really know right now, because there's some stuff that I see in you that doesn't make me feel like you're the woman that I want to marry, even though we have a good relationship right now, right? And so, ladies, don't let the first reaction be, well, fine then, since I ain't the one, then let me go. You don't want me, then don't talk to me. Go ahead and free yourself. No. If he's a good man, you need to listen to him. If he's speaking to you and speaking truth, then why is it that now he faces the wrath of the fact that what he said in truth is now just made you feel hurt? So now he's like, well, there's no way we're going to get married when I recognize as soon as I say something that is true, you feel attacked or offended by it. And even if I come to you in a calm manner, you still disregard that because the message stung. Now, all of a sudden, now you still feeling like, well, you know what, just go, fine. And like, where are we going from that point? You got to actually be able to listen and understand and accept some of the things that's being told to you. Because, ladies, be honest, when it comes time for you to tell him something that you feel like you need to get off your mind, you ain't got no holds barred. Ain't no limit. There is no boundary between the fact that you feel like he needs to hear this, and so therefore you're going to give it to him just how he needs to hear it. Right? And so now be just as grown, be just as mature to be able to accept a message that may come to you in peace, but still has a little sting to it. And all of a sudden now it's like, you know what, all hell is broke loose. How are you expecting him to then see that and trust what you say aside from what he's seeing? It's not going to happen. So what I tell y'all, ladies, is that this conversation needs to be had in a peaceful tone, in a respectful manner, and in a welcoming entrance, meaning that you need to come in a vibe with an energy that says, hey, I don't mean to bother you. I'm not trying to stress you. I'm not trying to come down on you. Because as soon as that energy is felt, then that's when shutdown city happened. That's why sometimes you feel like, well, I'm asking questions and he doesn't want to tell me. He doesn't want to open up. Well, I tell you why. Because the way that you approached him made him say, uh-oh, I already see this coming. I already know how this goes, right? And again, you want to have him believe something that he doesn't see, and that's hard for him to trust. So why he doesn't put a ring on it, I hope I was able to break that down as good as I could for you to be able to understand what is inside a man's mind when it comes to marriage, when it comes to a woman he's decided to make his life partner. So what I need y'all to do right now, like I said earlier, share this post. Share this for your boy. Share this for your boy, because, again, for somebody, this may be the key for them to actually cross that threshold and become a wife, or, satisfying their husband to the point where he feels like, you know what, I can't leave this on the side of the road. I got to make sure I capitalize on this moment and go ahead and secure the bag. Go ahead and secure the bay. You dig? So this is Relationship Coach Clarence Brown. What I want y'all to do is stop by the Relationship Healing page and check me out on Instagram. Also on Facebook. Facebook, I already see y'all out there right now showing love. And make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the Male Translations podcast on YouTube, all right? I do the lives every Tuesday night. Also do lives on Thursday and Sunday, just trying to give you value, give you something that you can take in your daily lives and be able to apply it, because, of course, we all go through the same things. Only difference is we handle them different. We handle them differently. So if we can understand what another person is seeing in us and what we see out of the world ourselves and be able to put those two together to where we say, you know what, we can find somebody that is like-minded like ourselves and that is moving in the same direction, these things right here will help you, right? These things I mentioned today will help you out to be able to see or have a conversation as far as what it is that is prolonging marriage if you are marriage minded. So please show your love and support by, like I say, hitting that share button, hitting that like button. I'm going to see y'all again, man. It's Mr. Mel Translations, Clarence Brown, certified life coach, relationship coach, author, speaker. And leave those comments in the comment section, or y'all want to DM me questions that y'all want to have covered. I'll do that as well. And we'll see y'all again. Until next time. All right, I'm out. I holla. Peace.